Short stories and excerpts from old Imperial Guard codexes. Codex Catachans, published in the year 2000. Page 3. We run into scorpions the size of battle tanks. 3 men died from eye rot last week. I sweat enough to fill a lake. My boots got sucked into a sink swamp and the trees so thick in places you can't squeeze between them. Emperor help me, I love this place, it's just like home. Captain Rock of the Catachan 3rd Green Devils commenting on Verastus Prime. Page 6. Catachan 13 Swanprats. The Swanprats of 762/771.M40, led by Colonel Gator, fought for 7 years against a Tyranid horde on the world of Kirkhalf 8. Teams of highly experienced Nid hunters covered their bodies in the ichor of the aliens they had slain, to build up an immunity to the toxins and mask their smell from the lictors which hunted them. After successfully wiping out the Tyranid swarm, the Swanprats had to spend 2 years on a decontamination ship. Page 17. Catachan Knives. A knife is not only a tool and a weapon of a Catachan fighter, but also a mark of his status. The steel alloy used for these knives is only found on the planet Catachan. A well-honed Catachan blade will not rust, and its edge will keen even after continuous use. Catachan knives are highly valued and sought after throughout the Imperium. Many counterfeit copies are sold by roaming road traders, but only the sure way to get an authentic Catachan knife is to take it from a Catachan. This is not easy, as the Catachans place a tremendous value on their knives. It is said that a Catachan would rather give up his right arm than his knife. Each Catachan Jungle Fighter learns the craft of making knives from their parents, and making your own knife is considered one of the tests of adulthood. While the basic design of the knives remains the same, there are subtle variants between family groups and individuals, depending on the height and preference of the user. Catachan Fang. Measuring up to 20 inches of gleaming steel, the Catachan Fang is the most common type of the knife used by the Catachan regiments. Equally useful for cutting your way through a jungle or deviant elder, the Catachan Fang is renowned throughout the thousands of star systems. This knife is also used for settling disputes between Catachans. Usually, one knife is placed in the centre of a fighting pit, and the combatants must each strive to get hold of the knife. The duel ends when one fighter draws blood, though this can often mean death as well. Night Reaper. Small than other typical designs, the blackened blade of the Night Reaper is especially suitable for infiltration and night missions where light reflecting from a blade can mean the difference between life and death. The blade itself is triangular, so any wound caused by the Night Reaper is unlikely to clot or heal. Catachans are also known to poison their knives using one of the many venoms native to their inhospitable planet. Devil's Claw. Named after the fearsome predator of the Catachan jungles, this is the largest type of the traditional knives of Catachan. Anywhere between 3 and 4 feet long, the Devil's Claw is closer to a sword than a knife. It is used mainly on the battlefield in close quarters, and it's even achieved a fearsome reputation amongst orcs who call it the cutter. The blade itself is hollow and half filled with mercury to give it a greater swinging potential. Power swords wielded by senior members of the Catachan regiments are often identical in design to the Devil's Claw. Excerpt from the Arms and Weaponry of the Imperial Guard by Atlik Sorasius. Page 23. Multiple Stories. What in the 7 hells of chaos are you waiting for? Personal orders from the Emperor himself? When I say take that damned hill, I mean take that damned hill. Not damn well stand around and stare at it. I don't care if there's 50 Larxi up there. I don't care if it's 50,000 Larxi up there. Our orders are to take the hill, and I'm going to damn well take that hill, even if it means I have to kill every single last one of those purple-skinned giants myself. Damn it, follow me. I'll show you how it's done. That's it, get stuck in there. Medic, stop whining. Brooke, you got another goddamn leg. Do you think I cried like a damn newborn when I lost my arm? Course I damn well didn't. I upped and ripped that damn land shark's damn throat out with my damn teeth. That's it, Sergeant Reed. Give him some Catachan steel. Emperor's teeth, their blood stinks. Get that heavy flamer into the trench. Flush the damn grok's heads out. That trench, you idiot, not this one. Oh yes, smell those aliens burn. Smells better than breakfast, doesn't it? Give me that damn grenade. Do I have to do everything myself? See? That's not proper armor like you'd see on an Imperial tank. No, it's flimsy. Fall down on a strong breeze. Hope you don't spit at me, armor. I didn't really mean spit at it. You there, yes you. Pick up Sergeant Creed's hand. The medics might be able to stick it onto him later. Don't stop now. You damn work-shy sons of acid grubs. You're only halfway up the hill. Colonel Straken at the Battle of Morden's Ridge. The Quest 27 campaign. The Colonel stepped up to Trooper Marbo. Marbo's eyes were empty again, like they always were when he wasn't stalking through the jungle or carving his name in some enemy's internal organs. Inwardly the Colonel sighed. There was something wrong with this boy. Blood and death had warped him to a point where he could only be normal with a blade in his hand. Once again, the Colonel pronounced the well-rehearsed words. For valour in battle and service to the Emperor, of unbound courage, you are hereby awarded the Star of Terror. Bear it with pride, that you may inspire others to worthy endeavour in the service of man. The Colonel completed the dedication in a single breath before pinning it onto Marbo's chest. This one was for wiping out a whole squad of aliens, killing their commander and capturing their command post single-handedly. He leaned closer to Marbo and asked, "Want me to look after this for you, son, like the rest?" Marbo nodded solemnly. "All right, son, you can go." The words had barely left the Colonel's lips before Sly Marbo had plunged back into the jungle as smoothly as a fish slipping into a stream. Stinking, fly-ridden, pox-laden, emperor-cursed jungle. I hate it. Lieutenant Castor flung his machete at the ground. Sure isn't anything like the forest at home, agreed Trooper Raven, looking at the lieutenant while he used his bayonet to saw through a vine as thick as a man's arm. Can't imagine how anyone can fight in this, added Trooper Bren, waving his arm at the dense undergrowth that all but blotted out the light in every direction. Just then, a movement rustled the purple leaves of a bush to the right and the squad spun round, lasguns at the ready. For a moment, it was impossible to see what had caused the disturbance. Then a burly figure stepped through, his body covered in swirls of camouflage paint, onto his rippling muscles. 5 other soldiers followed him, onto the trail where Castor's squad was standing. Been listening to you boys for half an hour. You sure make one hell of a racket, the leader drawled. Luckily there ain't no elder nearby. They'd have been on you quick as a blood wasp on a corpse. Thanks for the advice, Sergeant, Castor said sourly. No, Captain. Captain Stone, 4th Company Catachan 23rd, the newcomer replied. His eyes were pure white as they stared out from the camo paint on his face. You trying to link up with the supply column? Yes, sir. Seems like this goddamn jungle doesn't want us to get there, though, Castor answered quickly. Captain Stone gestured to the squad, who started to inefficiently cut away the creepers blocking the trail. How does anyone survive in this hellhole? Brent asked half to himself. Stone squatted down beside the kneeling guardsman and laid his massive arm across his shoulders. This ain't nothing, boy, laughed Stone, his pearly teeth shining through the dark camouflage in a big grin. Yeah, that's right. You Catachans come from the deepest hellhole in the galaxy, Raven said artistically, rolling his eyes dramatically. That's right, boy, exclaimed Stone, turning his gaze to Raven but keeping Bren's shoulders in a vice-like grip. We're from the worst place you can imagine, worse than anything this little bit of greenery got to offer. Yeah. 200-foot Catachan devils, man-trap plants that swallow you whole, giant lizards that destroy buildings. We heard the stories already, Raven grumbled. That's just what you off-worlders know, boy. Let me tell you about the real Catachan, Stone drawled, back with a lopsided smile. You boys been here for 6 months, but I wouldn't give you more than 3 days on Catachan. You don't have to worry about the big critters you've heard about. You can hear them coming miles away, and they're easy to avoid. But it's the little ones that the real danger is. Them blood wasps about the size of your thumb, and they don't wait till you're dead to start feeding. See them strip a man to the bone in an hour. Then these tiny little bugs, we call them heretic ants, on account for the fact they go for your feet, after your souls, so to speak. One bite from them, and you'll be in the infirmary for a month. 2 of them get you, and you've got about a day to get yourself well. 3 bites, and you better get ready to say hello to the Emperor. The vein worms are bad as well. They secrete this ooze that numbs you where they bite, so you don't feel a thing. Then they dig their way under your skin and into your bloodstream to lay their eggs. The eggs then get spread all around your body, and then this larvae hatch out, eating at your brain, your heart, your lungs. Ain't nothing no one can do to save you when the vein worms have got you. Emperor's teeth, whispered Raven, shaking his head. That ain't the worst, Stone told the guardsman, turning to look at each of them in the eye. Even a heretic ant, you can see, squash 'em quick. The diseases, that's another matter. There's all kind of poxes and fevers can kill a man in a few hours. There's some swamps where one breath of the fog will burn your lungs. 5 hours later, your throat's all swollen up, you can't breathe, you choke to death. Foot rot will get you after a few weeks in the bush, your feet dropping off your legs. The stink making you want to heave. Gotta look after your feet in the jungle, boys. The assembled men glanced down at their travel-worn boots with troubled looks. Stone laughed and stood up. This place is just jungle, nothing special, he told them. Bet you was really glad to get off world, Captain, Brent suggested with a smile. Hell no, Stone exclaimed. Us Catachans love our world, boy. Ain't nothing else I'd choose to be brought up on. Catachans got but one thing for the Emperor, us. Ain't no minerals, can't build a hive world there, but you want some real tough men for your fighting, Catachan's the place to go. You live on Catachan, you're born a survivor. Half the kids die before they learn to walk. Half of those that walk won't see 10 years. But you celebrate your 10th birthday. You're going to be a real man. Everyone works together, see? Can't go into the bush without some real good men to watch out for you. To pick off the death flies from your back. To chop the head off the big old Catachan viper when it's snaking towards your arm. We look after each other. We don't backstab no one. We ain't out for ourselves. We're there for each other. And Catachan's independent. Don't rely on no one to look after us. Now and then we get some official coming to our village. Try to tell you what to do. They don't last long. Hell, I shot me 3 of them myself. Stone looked to where his men had chopped through the obstructing trees and branches. Better get moving, boys, he told them, pointing along a now clear trail. You don't want to be out here after dark, not with them elder around. See ya. As Lieutenant Castor settled his pack onto his shoulders and set off along the trail, he glanced back. He saw Captain Stone give a friendly wave with a wide smile before disappearing, merging with the jungle once more. Page 24, Multiple Stories. Sirs, please find attached a static copy of a document recently recovered from the deep jungles of Catachan. The area it was found in, known by the inhabitants as Death Valley, lies over 250 miles from the nearest human settlement. Our records show that only 3 registered incursions have been made into this territory, of which none have returned. There have been a number of private ventures over the last few centuries, and it took us some time to establish the origin of this document. It is remarkable that any evidence of the expedition has been recovered at all, and this page only survived because it became entangled in the upper roots of one of the local plant forms. It was whilst a hunting party was collecting the toxic seed pods of a plant that it was found. Analysis leads us to believe that the author was one Wilhelmus Scaraphus Don Blair, who made several public claims that he was the greatest hunter in the galaxy and vowed to bring down a Catachan devil. Sources show that he gathered enough men to be considered a small army, and is shown as embarking on the supply transport Star Wanderer in 276.M38. Upon arriving on Catachan, he hired a number of local guides, although the only ones he found willing to take him into the Death Valley were unhinged individuals known as bush crazies. This is further evidence, if any is needed, that off-worlders should never be allowed to visit deathworlds. Yours faithfully, Adap Salvalis Devska. Flora and fauna of exotic Catachan. The Catachan devil is the most famous of all of this fetid world's denizens, the most vicious predator I have ever hunted. Our party encountered one of these beasts basking in the light of the few jungle clearings. My guides told me that it wasn't the largest they'd seen, though it measured some 40 paces in length. When we opened fire with our hunting cannons, the beast immediately attacked us, forcing us to flee into the jungle where its progress was slowed enough for us to escape harm. One of our party was assailed by the plant known locally as the brain leaf. It appears this vegetative carnivore has a rudimentary intelligence and can propel its leaves several yards through the air. The leaf attaches fibrous tendrils into its victim's spine and brain and can control their actions, though somewhat erratically. There was no saving poor Hodges. I shot him myself. I've seen domesticated groks before, as they're widely used as beasts of burden and food animals on many of the worlds I've visited. However, in the wild, they are belligerent creatures, and since the average male stands over my head at the shoulder, one should be wary of them. This female we encountered appeared to be protecting its young, and my guide advised us to give her a wide berth. Possibly the most dangerous vegetation in the galaxy, the spiker stands about the height of a man when fully grown. They're vaguely cylindrical, covered in leaves from which protrude innumerable small thorns or spikes. When these spikes pierce the tissue of an animal, they deliver numbing shock and inject a replicating chemical that literally turns a victim into another spiker. One of my companions was fortunate enough to be infected by a spiker, his arm growing furry at first, followed within a short space of time by total paralysis, and then his whole skin surface ruptured with more spikes until nothing of the man remained. A grisly end indeed. Not native to Venus, the man-trap is named after a plant of ancient terror, which the Venus man-trap resembles in shape, but is much greater in size. In good growing conditions, the man-trap can reach up to 15 times the height of a man. The spiky leaves form a toothed trap which grabs onto its victims, slowly digesting them as they're pulled into its inner recesses of the plant. The man-trap is even able to move its leaves towards its prey and actively attack them. There are many highly dangerous serpents to be found in Catachan, such as the flying swamp mamba and the coiling death cobra. Most, such as the 15 paces long Catachan blackback viper I've pictured here, are utterly lethal. With a bite poisonous enough to bring down giant lizards that it normally preys upon, the blackback viper's fangs can kill a man in under 30 heartbeats, its bones fusing with alien toxins. My chief guide decapitated this monstrous beast with a special snake biter knife. Catachan 14, Waiting Death. The Waiting Death became famed for their almost exclusive and highly successful employment of booby traps. They would spend days, even weeks, preparing a large area with mines, improvised spike pits, log falls and other deadly traps, before their foolhardy beta squads would lure the enemy into the death traps awaiting them. Most notable of their achievements was the almost complete destruction of Warlord Kazkrol's Orc Horde by completely covering a mile-deep Hell's Mouth Gorge on Andra 5. So perfect was the trap's construction that almost all of the Greenskin Horde had started to cross the hidden ravine before the fake floor of branches and leaves gave way under their tremendous weight. Alright, so there you have it. A bit of a different video to my usual ones. Obviously a bit of a bedtime reading with Guardsman Hannon, going through the Catachan Codex from the year 2000, reading all the excerpts and short stories. Hopefully you did enjoy it. I did my best to keep it quite animated because I do a bit of a monotone I'm aware of, but love to hear any feedback or comments about how this went. And if you do want to see more of these, because I've got several old codexes lying around, let me know for more story time with Guardsman Hannon. But if you enjoyed it, want to support me, you can do so by like, comment, or by subscribing, joining my Patreon platoon, or simply watching any of my other YouTube videos. I cover everything Astra Militarum with a mix of hobby videos, tactical, relating to the 10th edition of 40k, and also, of course, lore videos like this. Patreon platoon, sound off. Tank Commander Glenn. Tank Commander Watchdog Van Etten. Tank Commander Mitchell. Colour Sergeant DuPont. Sergeants Adal, the Colonel Merrill, Veteran Gibson, Hall, Lundeen, Guardsman Beard, Coquelin, Flint, Hills, Malik, Nitton, Nguyen, Smith, Tom, Tompkin. Conscripts England, Gilliam, Goodwin.